morning and Happy New Year. It's great to be with all of you and joined with Vice Chair Ted Lieu and welcoming you back. This is going to be a week here, but thanks to all of you for your work and for continuing your work in covering Congress. We're here today because the American people have been clear for more than a year. They need us to lower costs and they need us to do it now. But instead, Donald Trump has been breaking his promises to the hardworking Americans who put him in office. Remember when he promised to lower costs on day one? What did he do instead? He gave pardons to 1,500 violent criminals who stormed the Capitol on January 6th. He promised to always put Americans first. But this week, he is focused more on Venezuela than he is on the United States. And that's saying something because he is not focused on the priorities of Americans. He promised to lower healthcare costs, but instead, his single legislative accomplishment was cutting $1 trillion from healthcare in the big ugly law, the largest cut in healthcare in American history. But Democrats aren't losing sight of what the American people want in this moment. We're working tirelessly to deliver real solutions to the table that will make America more affordable and prevent healthcare costs from going up. This week, House Republicans will have a choice if they want to join with us, if they want to work with us on our mission for working people in driving down the cost of healthcare. Even though Speaker Johnson tried everything he could to prevent Democrats' discharge petition from extending the Affordable Care Act tax credit from getting a vote, we succeeded. Republicans may have already let these healthcare subsidies expire, but they have an opportunity to right the wrong of their leadership. Millions of Americans are counting on Congress in this moment. We need just a handful of Republicans to join with us. I'm confident that we will get this done for the American people because failure is not an option. Vice Chair Ted Lieu.
Thank you, Chairman Aguilar. We are all saddened by the sudden passing of Representative Doug LaMalfa. I had the opportunity to serve with him both in the California State Legislature as well as in Congress. He represented his district extremely well. He was conscientious. He was respectful to all of his colleagues, and he will be missed. My prayers are with Doug's family and his friends. As Chairman Aguilar said, the American people want us to work on the affordability crisis. We know that healthcare costs are skyrocketing, food prices continue to increase, and electricity rates in a number of areas are surging. And what is Donald Trump focused on? In his words, quote, running Venezuela. That is crazy. That is not what the American people want. And now, apparently, the Trump administration is taking some of the oil from Venezuela and then using those funds to help rebuild Venezuela. Well, the administration should be focused on rebuilding America and our economy, not on Venezuela. And we have an affordability crisis. And what are Republicans this week focused on? The Shower Act, showerheads. Literally, they're going to be talking about showerheads when Democrats fought for and got a discharge petition passed. So we'll be voting on extending the tax credits for the Affordable Care Act. I also want to thank Chairman Aguilar for his great work on the January 6th Commission. And this week was the anniversary, 5-year anniversary of that horrific day. I was in my office when we got a knock on the door from a Cal police officer who said you need to evacuate immediately. A bomb threat has been called to your building. So we went down to the tunnels and I looked at my phone and I realized we're being attacked. And we went to the Rayburn office and David Cicilline, then Congress member, graciously let us in. We locked the door and watched TV and realized pretty soon afterwards that Donald Trump had incited this mob to attack the Capitol. So David Cicilline, I, and Jamie Raskin wrote an article of impeachment. It passed the House on a bipartisan basis. 57 U.S. senators on a bipartisan basis voted to convict, the highest in U.S. history. And Capitol Police valiantly fought against this mob and protected the Capitol and protected us. That is a stain that Donald Trump will never be able to wipe away, ever. And 3 years from now, we're going to make sure that the truth will be even louder and that American people understand exactly what happened.
Thanks, Vice Chair. Questions? Michael?
Happy New Year, Mr.
Happy New Year.
President Trump spoke to House Republicans yesterday that the policy retreat said that GOP has to win the midterms, where Democrats will impeach him, and then they'll find a way to impeach me. I want to get your reaction to that. Obviously, you all are focused on healthcare. What does it say that the president's focus on keeping the majority is to avoid what he said would be a third impeachment if Democrats were to win?
This is no surprise to the American public. Donald Trump is about one thing: Donald Trump. That's all this is about. Everything he does is about him, his name, and his family, and how they benefit from it. He's not talking about why the American people would benefit if House Republicans kept a state in power. He's talking about how House Democrats will hurt him. We don't care. We're going to continue to offer oversight and accountability to him and to anyone who serves in that office, because we're the United States House of Representatives, and House Democrats, House Republicans have been unwilling and unable to offer that level of oversight to date. And so we're going to have to do it. The American public might have to wait a year to see that, but we're willing to do that if we're privileged enough to be in the majority. But it says a lot about, Donald Trump. He's not concerned about the costs that people face. He's not concerned about specific policies. It's just about consolidating power and how this affects him. We're not concerned about that. We're going to continue to focus on how we help people, how we have limited opportunities, make the best, as the vice chair said, make the best of where we are right now. But the fact that we are in the minority and we're able to force votes on overriding presidential vetoes later this week, on delivering healthcare benefits to people, those are significant wins. And we're going to continue to keep doing that all the way through November. And if we're given an opportunity to lead the American people, we'll see what that agenda looks like.
Really quickly, some of your members have introduced what we call articles of impeachment in response to certain actions that the president taken last year. Do you think if that occurs later on in the year that will muddle the message that you just gave?
It's not something that the leadership team is focused on. Members are going to represent, the viewpoints of their district, and we respect that. But that's not where our focus is. Our focus is on providing support to the American people, lowering the costs that they face. And if we are in a position, given an opportunity to lead, we'll show the American public exactly what that looks like. That's our focus. And anybody who gets in the way, including Donald Trump and Russ Vought and the administration, will be on the end of that accountability and oversight. But that's all we're focused on right now. Nick, Mariana.
Appropriations question. As you look at the defense appropriations bill, do you think there should be language included on military action in Venezuela or elsewhere?
I think there should be opportunities for amendments and input on Venezuela, on Greenland, on Cuba, on the Western Hemisphere countries that the president keeps talking about. I think that should be part of the discussion. Those should be given amendment votes. But this is one of the most closed Congresses I think that we've ever seen. This House, they don't believe in open rules. They don't believe in amendment debates and discussions. So I'd be shocked if we get that. But I think that that's an opportunity that we should consider. But I think more broadly, the American people are asking tough questions. Are American service members going to be in harm's way? Is Venezuela the only regime change that is on the mind of the president? These are all good questions, and it's on us to ask these, even when Republican leadership won't. As you just saw in the briefing, they continually want to peddle the theories of the administration when the American people are just asking reasonable questions. And I think it's on us to deliver some answers. Mariana.
I want to follow up Michael's question. There have been a few House Democrats who have called for impeaching Trump over Venezuela. There are other Democrats who rightfully are wondering what's going to happen next, and could that lead to not just in Venezuela, potential talk of invading Greenland. I know you just said that that's not the conversation or the position right now of House Democratic leaders, but could you all reach a point where those calls become louder, and how would leadership manage that potentially? Because we've seen impeachment votes happen, and they do take up time, they take time away from your message and the moving back the majority. But if we've seen it,
This is a lawless president who doesn't believe in norms or rules, and so it would not surprise any of us if he continued down a path that should lead to repercussions. But the end of the day, right now, House Republicans and Senate Republicans are not going to offer that oversight and accountability to the executive. And so we need to live in the reality that we are in. We need to speak to the issues that the American public cares about, which is, in this realm, we can ask tough questions and we should demand answers from the administration. But there are limited tools that we have here. I know that that's not popular among everyone, but that's the reality of the situation. Now, when we are in the majority, we will continue to ask tough questions, and we will have more tools to use. But in the meantime, we should be focused on what the American people want to see, what questions we have of the administration, how we can deliver for the American people on discharge petitions and veto overrides and the limited opportunities that we may have, while setting the groundwork for an affirmative agenda that we should stand for as Democrats, and robust accountability and oversight to the Trump administration when we're given an opportunity to lead.
With regards to Venezuela, do you think that some of the rhetoric that you and leadership seems to be pushing, which is overwhelmingly critical and skeptical, is that helpful to some of your South Florida members whose own constituents might feel very differently about Venezuela and maybe support them?
Yeah, I think Democrats are continue to look at this representing their constituents, and some constituencies are going to be more diverse than others, and we respect that. This is the broad mosaic that we talk about within the delegation. But I think every member of the Democratic caucus understands, number one, that Nicolas Maduro was an illegitimate leader. He's a dictator, and we don't lose a lot of sleep about him not being in office. However, we are concerned about what the path is ahead. Every Democrat has concerns about what day 2, day 4, day 6 looks like here, and the administration has not offered any plans, or maybe they have. They've just offered like 12 plans on what that looks like moving forward. That's where Democrats are. Now we're having conversations with stakeholders and ranking members on what war powers resolutions might be coming in order to discuss this and put checks on the administration. I think Democrats should support that, and will support that, and we'll navigate those member conversations that we have with interested stakeholders and folks on the Foreign Affairs Committee and Armed Services Committee, Intel Committee. All of these members, should be part of that discussion, including members in Florida. Cassie.
Two questions for you. First, I'd like to start with today being the anniversary of the LA wildfires. Congress still had been acted on the governor's $34 billion request for disaster aid. You've been outspoken about the fact that it needs to get done. House Speaker Mike Johnson has indicated he won't do any sort of appropriating or ask appropriators to move on this without direction from the White House. What's your message to Californians who feel like they've been lost in all of this and that they've become a political pawn to this administration?
Yeah, I think Californians are rightfully frustrated. I'll defer to the vice chair in a minute here, because his district is adjacent to some of the affected areas as well. But I really appreciate the work that George Whitesides and Judy Chu have done in representing their communities. I think Americans, not just in California, but Americans all across this country, should be shocked, and they should be saddened that the Trump administration is viewing disaster assistance as a red state and a blue state issue. And that's exactly what they're doing. The vice chair and I have been part of bipartisan efforts with other California Republicans in order to send letters to the administration and let them know what's at stake and what California needs. California should not be treated unlike Texas and North Carolina, when it comes to floods and disasters, we're one country, and that's how we should be treated. This president doesn't believe in that. This president doesn't believe in treating blue states the same as red states when it comes to natural disasters. And it's a terrible precedent to set. And House Republicans and many of our Republican colleagues seem content with that. And that's deeply frustrating. And that's not how the process should work. But we're going to continue to advocate for Southern Californians and for any American who's going through tragedy that deserves the attention and support of the federal government.
Last term, Chairman Aguilar and I voted for disaster aid for red and purple states like Oklahoma, North Carolina, and we didn't ask, should we vote for this because it's going to red and purple states? We voted for it because we're Americans, and this aid was helping Americans. I've never seen any administration until the Trump administration simply decide to help Americans based on what state they happen to live in. And if you're even going to take that approach, I just note that Southern California has more Republicans than a number of red states. And so Trump is actually hurting Republicans in Southern California who were affected by the wildfire disasters. I was at the meeting when Donald Trump came and visited the affected sites. He lied. He basically said he was going to help the people there, and he has not yet done so. He straight up just lied to the people in that meeting. He lied on camera. He lied to the American people. And I asked him to stop lying and to provide disaster aid to any state that America has been doing since we become a country. There is no evidence that California had the same kind of actions that occurred in Minnesota. We should all be against fraud. And I urge every governor of every state, whether it's red or blue or purple, to take action to make sure that there's no fraud.
Thank you. There is obviously a very tight Republican majority right now, and there were a couple of votes before the break where Democrats could have potentially changed a rule or a vote if they'd passed the attendance. I'm just curious if you're doing anything this year to try to improve attendance, or if that's something that you're talking to your colleagues about as well.
We'll have strong attendance this week. We have some incredibly important votes. When we have important votes that affect the American public, we expect members to be here. We expect members to be here on time. We've stressed to members, including this morning, the importance of showing up on time, and a 15-minute vote means 15 minutes. I know sometimes that takes a little longer, but we should all adjust our calendars and be here on time. We don't want to lose the opportunity to deliver help to the American public because Republicans are sitting in the chair and they're quick to the gavel. So we're going to make sure that our members understand that, and each and every step of the way, we want to ensure that when we have legislation that matters to the American public, that we're here and we're present. And I'm confident that under Whip Clark's leadership and Leader Jeffries, that our members get that and understand that.
If a deal over healthcare subsidies is not reached by the end of January, would you support another government shutdown?
No, Democrats aren't focused on a government shutdown. Republicans shut the government down, the longest shutdown in American history, over 40 days. And I think you saw even Kevin McCarthy, acknowledge that Democrats probably won the shutdown. This wasn't about winning or losing. I don't lose a lot of sleep over what Kevin McCarthy says about what happens in these chambers, but this was about delivering for the American public and letting the American public know that we understand and we see you, that this healthcare crisis is real for you, and we're gonna fight to deliver benefits and help. And that's exactly what we did. And the American people saw that. They saw the shutdown end, and they saw that we put up the votes for a discharge petition to force this vote this week. So I think that's, part of promises made, promises kept, but Democrats aren't concerned about, and we aren't talking about a government shutdown. You're seeing Rosa DeLauro speak loudly about the importance of voting yes, and I'll be a yes vote on the minibus this week. And as long as there are collaborative talks between Democrats and Republicans, we want to pass 12 bills. It's up to Republicans, and a lot of Republicans in the Senate have concerns about meeting bipartisan numbers that can get there. You're seeing a revolt in the Rules Committee and from members on the Republican side over these bills, right now. So I think the concern right now is for our Republican colleagues. Do they want to shut down? Because everything they're doing is acting as if they want to shut down and potentially voting against their leadership-supported appropriations bills.
Right before our break in December, the DNC announced that it wouldn't be releasing its technology report of 2024. Are you concerned about that decision? Do you think that potentially that report could help Democrats win in 26, potentially in 2020? And do you think it's a mistake not to release that report?
I'll leave that up to the DNC and the political folks. That's nothing that we concern ourselves with when we're wearing this hat under the dome. Well, my general belief is more information is always better. And having an opportunity to look in the rearview mirror, helps you moving forward. That said, we're focused on an agenda for the American people in 2026 and winning the election in November 2026 so we can lead and deliver real help to people who need it. And we want to make sure that in 51 weeks, that we have a new speaker and new leadership here in the House. Last question.
Apologies if you talked about this before, but can we get your quick take on the Greenland conversation? The House GOP leader for this year kind of minimizing what the White House has said, but the White House has said the military is always an option in their plans to acquire Greenland.
It's just completely unhinged what Stephen Miller is allowed to say, but they're saying the quiet part out loud, right? They're threatening a NATO ally in Greenland and Denmark, and I think it's deeply frustrating to us. As much as Speaker Johnson and Republicans want to say that that's not true, that's exactly what the president is saying. That's exactly what his administration is saying. They're leaving the door open to further military action and further regime change in Cuba and Greenland and in other countries in the Western Hemisphere. And so I think the American public is paying attention and should be deeply concerned about what they're hearing out of the White House.
Sure. I served on active duty in the military for 4 years and then additional 21 years in the reserves. I was a JAG. There is absolutely no legal justification whatsoever to use military force against a NATO ally, against Greenland. And if any military member, including the generals on down to enlisted members, if any of them participate in the use of military force against Greenland without congressional authorization, they are following illegal orders. That's simply a fact.
Last one.
Yeah, on the discharge Jeffries disqualification, given that the Senate has defeated a 3-year extension, have you heard any firm evidence of any progress toward the DCA extension?
Well, the Senate did defeat a 3-year bill, but it did have bipartisan support, just like we anticipate, our 3-year bill will have bipartisan support. Our obligation, our job is to move this off of the House floor. We're not in the majority. We don't get to decide the timeline, but I want to give Leader Jeffries and it's Lauren Underwood's, bill, and all of the members involved a big, note of appreciation for the work that they're doing to get this bill. So we'll get this off of the House floor if the Republicans stay true to their word, and we look forward to passing that in a bipartisan way. We'll get it off of the House floor and we'll send it over to the Senate, and we'll see. They're having, as you all have been reporting, they're having active conversations about what that could look like moving forward. We're aware, we're mindful, we're keeping an eye on what that looks like, and we just want to deliver help for the American public, and we hope that we can do this with the Affordable Care Act tax credits, reopening the enrollment period, and allowing people who have lapsed in that coverage to join back in would be a huge benefit to our communities and the American people. Thank you.
Hello, church. I'm thinking maybe I'm going to read my Bible this year. They've almost convinced me. No, it's been a habit around here for a bit, and we didn't want to open a new year without very directly presenting you with that